can you see a ghost during the day? If a ghost is transparent and it glows at night so you can see it, can you see this said ghost in the regular daylight?
I'm going with yes.
I don't think so. Race car spelled backwards is still race car. This is the Race Car Spelled Backwards podcast. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Brad, and with me, as always, is Jamie, and this is Race Car Spelled Backwards, episode 75.
Man.
Happy 75, Jamie.
It's our diamond episode.
It's like NASCAR's 75th year. We're on our 75th episode.
Who else is on? Oh, Porsche's on 75 years.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They were born the same year as NASCAR.
Porsche. We have a few Porsches in here. I meant to bring the Porsche flag out. I'm going to take the Porsche flag out of the RV studio and put it in this studio.
Oh, I have a spare.
Well, I've got the American flag I'm going to hang up.
Winter's coming. We'll be back
Winter's coming.
in the
RV. Was this
studio.
Game of Thrones now? Winter's coming.
Yeah.
That season finale was so anticlimactic. Like, they built it up for 8 seasons or whatever, and half an episode winter came. And
I only saw the last episode and asked my family, what's the big deal?
Yeah, that's because I wouldn't watch the show again, but I've seen it. Moved on. But episode 75, this week's show goes out to Jim.
Who's Jim?
Jim was our pastor at our church. He actually has been called to another church in Texas. So Sunday he preached his last sermon at our church. But
he didn't give up on religion?
No.
Okay, that's good, Jim.
No, the Lord called him to
Still
another
believes
church.
in it.
But this week goes out to him. He's been a great mentor of mine, a guy I call a friend and a brother. I mean, we're going to truly miss him, but wish him the best, and glad to see him being obedient and doing what he's told to do.
So you still have Jesus in common?
That's right. And just because he's moving to Texas don't mean we can't still talk. I mean,
they don't even charge for long distance on your cell phones
anymore. I looked it up last night. I can fly to Texas in 2 weeks if I wanted to for $100. So luckily he's near the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so it's cheap to fly from Atlanta to Dallas. I guess corporate to corporate business stuff. It's probably got something to do with it. But today's also September 11th, so we've worn black. We'll never forget. So.
Where were you? At your wedding? No, it was after your wedding.
This would have been, September 11th happened on senior skip day. It was my senior year of high school, and me and all my buddies and friends, we had skipped school. So we had all stayed at a friend's house the night before, and I remember the next morning, somebody come running in one of the bedrooms and like, you got to turn the TV on. Turn the TV on, and we saw the plane hit the second tower. I'll be completely honest, I didn't feel like it was real. Like, it didn't look real to me.
It's like a movie.
Yeah, like I was 17 years old, and I don't think I realized in that moment what was happening. And then not long after, my mom got me on the Nextel, she's like, you need to get home now. And all my friends ended up piling into cars and going back to my house, and we just hung out there. But
watch CNN all day?
No. No, we just did whatever we had planned. Probably went and rode four-wheelers. I mean, I was 17. It was senior skip day. What was kind of not cool or neat, but my mom, when she was in high school, her senior skip day was when the Challenger blew up.
I thought you were going to say it was when they bombed Pearl Harbor.
No, my mom ain't that old. No, the Challenger space shuttle blew up on her senior skip day, and then on my senior skip day was 9/11. That's pretty bad luck. Where were you at?
Maybe you should change senior skip day. I was at home. Actually, I was headed to work. I remember it distinctly. I had my Motorola cell phone. I was walking to my car down the sidewalk of the front lawn, and I got a call from my boss saying, have you turned the TV on today? And I said, no. He said, don't come to work. We're working, HVAC at an industrial site. He said the company, and I'm not going to name the company, but they're shutting down for the day. It was actually, they built the planes that crashed into the buildings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I stayed home, turned on TV, and it was after the first plane hit. And then you keep hearing reports. There's a plane circling D.C.
Yeah, they kept saying
They can't get a hold of them. They're over Pennsylvania. And then while the cameras were on the first building that got hit, you saw another plane hit.
Yep.
And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I remember. I mean, we saw the second plane hit live. Like I said, to me, it just did not feel real.
And then the buildings collapsed. It was like,
Yeah.
what in the world?
I've watched a lot of documentaries on it since then, but I have my own opinions of it. But today is not the day to get into all that.
No, we need to remember the people that
Yep.
died in that.
Today's the day we remember everybody who lost their life.
There were a lot of heroes that day. I mean, they were pretty badass people on that
A lot of families'
plane.
lives were changed that day. So we remember all of you. That's what today is about.
And let's not forget those military people that served and died after that, too.
Yeah.
Because they were in Afghanistan and Iraq because of it.
Correct. And I mean, that's what today is all about, right? It's not about what we think really happened on 9/11.
Well, you know what? I mean, it's horrible that it happened, but one of the neat things that came out of it, it probably took 5-6 years before it disappeared, but
Unity?
we were all Americans.
Unity.
It didn't matter.
It literally brought the whole country
Didn't matter
together.
what party you were in.
No. Everybody was proud of the American flag. Nobody was bashing it. I mean, I
Didn't
guess they
matter
were, but
what
you didn't see
color
it.
or creed you were, or Democrat, Republican, or
No, none of it mattered.
nope. We
So,
were
yeah,
American.
That was super cool.
But yeah, it's
Horrible thing, though. Hopefully it never happens again. I hope as a country we're better prepared, and
time will tell.
Go Bruce Lee on them.
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris. Was he your favorite?
Chuck Norris was a badass dude.
I liked watching Bruce Lee movies. They didn't talk. And the sound was always
Well, they
off.
did. It'd be like, hello.
Yeah. That's why I like the Bruce Lee movies. I met Chuck Norris when I was a kid. I have his autograph somewhere. I wish I could find that. We'd hang it up in the studio here. But I was into karate when I was like a little kid, like 4 or 5 years old.
So talking to famous people, did you ever meet a famous person who you thought was awesome, and when you met them, you didn't know what the hell to say? Or you just flubbed the meeting completely?
Not that I can remember. I've always, for the most part, when I've met famous people, I feel like I've always been more reserved anyway.
Well, you
Been
peed with
quieter.
Denny Hamlin.
Well, I peed next to him, but I didn't want to talk to him while we were peeing.
Yeah, you don't want him to peek over the little divider and go, huh.
What was it? Like, huh? And I didn't want to peek over the divider.
Does
so-
your wife like that?
I didn't want to peek over the divider either, but I've never peed next to a man in his
Is
pajamas.
that the little Hamlin there?
No wonder you haven't won a championship, Denny.
Wow. Might want to put a cucumber in that fire suit.
Is that what that hose is for?
Yeah. I met Cal Ripken when I was like
In
8
the
or 9.
bathroom?
No.
Oh.
Little League. Back in the day before they were making multi-million-dollar contracts, they would show up at Little League practice and play catch with you.
Yeah.
And I think it was a year after they won the World Series. So it was like 1984, and his dad was Cal Sr. was his coach. They came to our Little League with Rick Dempsey, the catcher, and I was enamored with Cal Ripken because
He's
was
still your favorite.
he still is. But he was young and felt close to my age, where the other players were like my dad's age.
Old?
Yeah. Which I'm older than my dad during that time period. But anyway, I said, and I did the same thing with Denny Hamlin. But I said, you're Cal Ripken. He goes, I know. And then his dad said,
Really?
I'm Cal Ripken too. And then I said, I know.
That's awesome.
But then they were real nice after that. So, because of how they treat children, they create fans for their entire lives.
I met Dale Jr. at a Budweiser event, and he wasn't real talkative. The guys so it was Dale Jr., Three Doors Down. It was an event they did on race weekend, and Three Doors Down played a show, and Dale Jr. was there at the arena or whatever, and my buddy worked for Budweiser, so we got backstage, or Actually, it's under the stage. And we met Dale Jr. And luckily, the guys from Three Doors Down talked because Dale Jr. back then, he was really quiet. Like I've got a signed Dale Jr. beer bottle somewhere. I don't know where, but I got it that night. And Casey Kane was probably my favorite driver I met from NASCAR that I flubbed the worst. So we were sitting at the campground at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It was probably 10, 11 p.m. at night on a Friday night after a truck race. And let's just say I'd had quite a few beers by this point. So I was laid out in a lawn chair basically by the fire pit, just gone. This guy walks up and they start talking. And he's like, "Hey, man, who's your favorite NASCAR driver?" I said, "I like Dale Jr." He's like, "Oh, okay. What do you think about Casey Kane?" I was like, "He sucks." He's like, "Oh, well, at least I know how you feel about me." And I was like, "Huh?"
You drive a Dodge.
It was, yeah, I mean, it was him, Reed Sorensen, and the friends that were camping with his son, who was, I think he was a dirt track driver or something. But then I don't know what happened. Like I said, I vaguely remember the whole event anyway, but we'll just say that's the one I wish I could get back. Because I think Casey Kane's probably a pretty cool dude. But that's the only shot I got at meeting him. I told him he sucked.
Well, Dale Jr., he had an autograph session when he was driving for his dad in the Busch Series, which is now Xfinity. He had an autograph session here in Atlanta, and I took my oldest son there. And Dale, for adults, really didn't open up. For my son, his eyes were just above the table he was sitting at.
Yeah.
My son said, "You drive red car." And he opened up. I was like, "Yeah, I do. Do you like the red car?" And Jim, my son, said, "Budweiser."
I like Budweiser.
And Dale Jr. said, "You're a little too young for drinking Budweiser." And then he put his hand up and Jimmy gave him a high five. That's still his favorite driver.
That's cool. That's like I want to hate on Legacy and Jimmy Johnson, but when we did the Talladega Kids VIP thing, Jimmy Johnson was doing a radio interview with Claire B. Lang, and the Kids VIP thing was your son or daughter got to stand on the red carpet coming out of driver intros. Well, I was standing there, my son's standing in front of me, and he had a checkered flag, and he was getting all the drivers to sign his checkered flag. It's hanging in his bedroom right now still. Jimmy Johnson's doing an interview with Claire B. Lang, walks right by us and misses us, gets about 3 people down, tells Claire, "Hold on 1 second," turns around and runs back down and gets down on his knee in front of my son, and he apologizes. He's like, "Hey, man, I didn't mean to walk by you. I realized that as soon as I got down, I realized I'd passed you by." He's like, "Hey, my name's Jimmy Johnson. What's your name?" And
That's cool.
And he took, it probably was 20 seconds, but he took the time to apologize, introduce himself, pat my son on the side, sign his checkered flag, and then he moved on about his way. But legit, he was in the middle of a Claire B. Lang interview, and he told her to hang on so he could go sign an autograph for. I mean, my son had a Dale Jr. t-shirt on, a Dale Jr. hat on, and at this time, Dale Jr. had already retired, but my son and me both were Dale Jr. fans, so.
Don't you think that's what's missing with NASCAR now?
Personality.
Well, and having these events where their fans can meet them.
I think Talladega still does the kids VIP thing. My kids are just they've aged out now. But
I look at schedules and I don't see autograph sessions. It used to be the sponsors would sponsor the autograph session.
I mean, you look behind us, we have Bodine, Dale Earnhardt Sr., Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin. We have all these guys' autographs, and these are all from when I was a kid. And I got all these guys sign these little, what do they call them? They're hero cards. They would go out to the dirt track, the local dirt track. They would race at Atlanta Motor Speedway and Dixie Speedway in Woodstock, Georgia, is where all these Cup guys would go race cars at. Earnhardt, and then they would sit out on the track, and you could walk down, and they'd sign autographs all night long.
Or they'd show up at a car dealership.
Or a grocery store.
Yeah,
I think
whoever their sponsor was.
Dixie.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
You don't see it anymore. The obligations now have just... It's just changed. I think the cost of racing is why it's changed so much.
But I think that's why they're having problem with fans now.
Yeah, but you also have no personality. Like
My kids, you ask Jim, Dale Earnhardt's still his favorite driver, but he does not care anything about NASCAR.
I mean, my son watches when we go, and that's about it. You know, if something happens, like a big wreck or a cool finish or something, I'll go get him, and he'll come watch it. And he's entertained. And he'll see shorts on, like YouTube shorts on the race, and he'll watch that. But my son's not going to sit down for 4 hours and watch NBC broadcast of NASCAR.
But I think NASCAR is suffering from stopping this 5 years ago.
Yes, and they're suffering from
And now they're like,
personality.
yeah,
There's no personalities left on the track. I mean,
they're playing pin the tail with a donkey trying to hunt down fans when they had the formula before when they forgot about it.
yeah, and all those fans are leaving now.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if you think about it, I have this actually in the show notes, but our attention spans, I think, have affected NASCAR too. Like, there's a lot of hardcore fans who still like 500 miles, but do you think that, like Kansas yesterday, I think it was a good race, but there was a lot of 20, 30-minute stretches there where I'm just like, da-da-da. You know, my mind's wandering. I'm looking at stuff on my phone. I'm doing something else.
I say
Do you
cut
think our
100.
attention spans have gotten so bad?
Yes.
I mean, you think most new fans coming in, young fans, are used to 15, 30, and 60-second shorts or reels or whatever you want to call them.
That's why you cut a 500 with the exception or two. You have the 600, you have the Daytona 500, Southern 500, cut them to 300 miles.
Yeah, run a 2-hour race.
But the other thing is there'll be more acts of desperation by the drivers.
Yeah. Have you noticed college football's got some new rules in it now? So now the clock only stops to reset on the first down after the second quarter 2-minute warning. Or after the fourth quarter 2-minute warning.
Baseball has a pitch clock now.
Yeah. So
you're going to get called a ball if you don't pitch it.
it is highly noticeable how much faster a college football game goes now versus last season. It is also noticeable and notable that Alabama got beat by Texas over the weekend. I just had to throw that out.
Oh, let's see if I have a tear. No.
No,
Can you believe I don't have any tears?
dust? I have dust coming out.
Huh.
I don't feel bad.
Not a tear.
I hope Alabama's run is over. I had to live in that state through their dynasty.
Better watch it. We might have customers that are fans.
You know what? I'm sorry. I apologize, but I'm not a fan of Alabama. I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan. There ain't no hiding that.
At least they won't be asking you for any tickets for the Alabama-Georgia game.
That's true.
Because who would want to go there?
I should offer them.
Hey.
I don't think there will be an Alabama-Georgia game this year. I don't know who's going to be good in the West, so we'll see. Other things, last week, Denny Hamlin announced that he has signed his deal with Joe Gibbs, multi-year deal, and that Toyota will stay a partner with 2311.
Well, he signed that an hour after I said he's going to go to the same route as Busch. I got home and saw it and said, what the heck?
I was thinking that as soon as because we got done recording on Monday, Denny recorded and put his out maybe an hour after we did. So I was listening to Denny's podcast right after I posted ours, and he was like, oh, Joe's here. I'm like, Joe. And I knew. I mean, we all knew when Joe Gibbs walked in.
I thought it was Joe Nemechek. Front row, Joe?
Front row, Joe.
What did he win? One race and got pole 30 times?
Maybe.
That was back when you could switch engines. You had your qualifying engine and your race
I remember
engine.
you go to Atlanta and Joe Nemechek was always, who else was always fast at Atlanta on qualifying was Ryan Newman.
Yeah.
Like it was like Nemechek or Newman. For years, it was just like they dominated qualifying.
Never won.
Well, Newman won some.
I think Joe Nemechek had, what did he have, one cup race he won?
One or two. He drove that Bell South car for a while. Orange and red and blue. Something like that. Speaking of Nemechek, John Hunter Nemechek is signed a deal to drive the 42 for Legacy,
real?
For Legacy Motorcycle
This is
Club.
the first I've heard of that.
We heard this rumor
before Noah liked the picture.
Yeah, we heard this forever and a day ago. So, not surprised. I'm glad the cat's finally out of the bag. And
you know what's funny? I don't agree with what Noah did by liking it, but he had done it like 6 months before.
Yeah, I know.
They put that in their pocket and just waited.
I want to
I mean,
I
come
want to
on.
not believe that, but you just it all fits, you know.
I mean, they were like, because we heard before he got even, we heard about his meme that he liked. We heard that John Hunter was going to come drive for the motorcycle club.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been talking about it.
And we're like, huh, how's that going to happen?
Basically, since they announced they were going to Toyota, we've talked about
John Hunter.
Which I don't think next year will be a good year for Legacy because it's be their first year in Toyota. But I know that Toyota wouldn't be happy with a two-tire car blocking a championship contender like they did yesterday.
So, I mean, they're still going to be the C team.
Yeah.
I mean, Reddick won yesterday.
So maybe a C team's better than a D team like they are now, or an F team.
Well, they're definitely an F team now. They announced they're switching manufacturers.
Well, Matt DiBenedetto says he won't be returning, or Matt DiBenedetto will not be returning next season to the Truck Series, and said he currently has no plans on what he is doing.
Was it the truck they gave him? Was it the truck's fault?
I mean, you know Matt. Matt's got more excuses than a doctor's note's ever seen.
You know, and I've been pretty negative on what's his face in the 21. Can't even remember his name because he never finishes.
Herson Burton.
But you know what? He has never once said his equipment sucks.
No, he's never badmouthed his team. Really.
Yeah. So,
he's never blamed it on his team. When he's had issues in the car, he's never blamed it on his team.
And Hurston re-signed.
Did he?
Yeah, he re-signed.
Well, good.
So I guess Matt's not going to the 21.
I don't think Matt's going anywhere because I think other teams are like, this dude's got more excuses of why he can't do it than just actually doing it. I mean, that goes anywhere. Any occupation. You know, you don't come with excuses.
Really?
You come with solutions.
Wow.
So my dad used to tell me, don't bring me an excuse, you bring me a solution.
Oh.
We got a solution, we move on. Got an excuse, I'm going to beat you.
I hear excuses all the time.
You get knocked upside the head. I hear excuses every day. That's all I hear all day.
And my job is to fix them.
That's it. Our job is to show up with a solution, not an excuse.
Yep.
I mean.
And take blame. We got to take blame. It's our fault. Sorry. Because someone has to do it to move on.
Exactly. That's just how it is.
But we also have to have a short memory.
Well, DiBenedetto said.
Kind of like losing at a race. You got to forget you lost. Oh, you mean like DiBenedetto still blaming stuff on people?
Yeah, DiBenedetto said that if he'd had a better truck, he could have qualified better and he would have finished better.
So do you think he outdrove his vehicle? I don't. I think he had a pretty good truck.
I do too. I just think it's Matt. I think Matt's expectations of himself are higher than what the reality of what he can actually produce is.
You know, I bet you if he would embrace reality, he might do better.
No doubt. You would have to.
But, you know, his mama probably told him how awesome he was since he was born, and he believed her.
Yeah, but still, I mean.
Because nothing's his fault.
You got to embrace who you are at some point. If you don't embrace who you are, you can't correct the issues.
Well, if you're airing it out to the public, that if you had a better truck, you'd do better. You're probably talking to the wrong people.
And why is a team going to want to sign you if you're that fast to bash somebody else? You're going to
do you think that's kind of a backhanded comment? Because I heard the owner of the team's son is going to be driving next.
Oh, is it? Who's his son? Quentin Huff?
I don't know.
Huff?
What's the name of the team he drives for? Last place?
Rackley Roofing? Something
Isn't
like
it?
that?
Yeah, it's the guy that owns it. His son. Last Place Racing.
Well, I mean.
LPR. Yeah.
That's all they can do.
But Matt seems to bring that franchise with him. He puts it in his satchel and takes it to the next team.
I mean, Matt did say he's going to be the first Christian conservative NASCAR driver. So
Really?
We're still waiting on him to get there.
That's weird.
That blew my mind too. All
right, the worst person in the world wants to bring attention to themselves because they're Christians and they don't actually hold the values that they're. Oh,
Hang on.
Was that Max falling?
Max van Stufenberger.
They
Matt
don't
Finn.
follow what they say.
Well, I think that's Matt's problem is he says a lot, but he doesn't do a lot. There's no actions. That's his problem.
Is he living in the Old Testament? Mr. Old Testament?
Nah.
You don't think so?
Old school Matt? That's what we're calling
Old school Matt.
him. Old school Matt.
King
OSM.
James Matt.
King James Matt. Old school Matt.
Thou will die because me is as better you?
Trucker.
Better trucker
Better
than
trucker
you?
driver.
You think he feels all superior when he passes a Peterbilt up there in Charlotte going to the track? Oh, man. I just passed him in my Lamborghini. I'm a badass.
That was we
We
were
have
at
to
the
sell that, though.
we were at the 24 hours, and every time this one Lamborghini that was a lap down on lap 2 would pass by, we were like, "There goes the Benedetto!"
I don't think they had anybody that could work on that car because it sounded like it was rough. Like it had dropped the cylinder at the start.
Oh no, it was a lap down at the very start. Like within a couple laps, he went a lap down.
We
It
called
was
it
the
Matty D's
Benedetto.
car.
Yeah, the whole time we called it Matt the Benedetto. So,
I don't think they finished either. I think it finally blew.
all right, let's jump into some stupid criminals and meth decisions.
Oh, it's time for meth class?
Meth class.
Huh.
First place we're going is Oregon. An Oregon man exposes himself, then demands marijuana and Mountain Dew during an 8-hour police standoff. An Oregon man and his girlfriend were arrested after an 8-hour standoff with police that involved marijuana, Mountain Dew, and his penis.
Was his penis outside and he wanted it back?
Oh, he tells... We'll get there.
Hey,
The-
bring that inchworm in the driveway out.
the-
What do you do? Hold his girlfriend hostage? Put a gun to her head?
No, she was involved. So
Oh, no.
they both refused to surrender to police when authorities attempted to bring him in on outstanding warrants for reckless driving and skipping bail. Police said he was kicking out windows, yelling and screaming, standing in the window making gestures with his penis and showing his buttocks in the nude. And at
Wow.
one point, he was wanting a pack of cigarettes, a Mountain Dew, and some marijuana.
We're going to be at a Bristow race.
It
do you
gets
think,
better.
Think he's coming? I
This
think he's
isn't-
coming to the race.
This is Oregon, dude.
He's
this is-
coming.
This is in Oregon.
He
and
left
this guy-
today.
This guy was guaranteed a moon eye.
Yeah, he's a moon eye.
He's 100% got moon eye in his ancestry.
Totally.
There's no doubt about it. At some point, he had ancestors that lived in the Tennessee hills.
Most definitely.
I mean, there's no way around that. So it gets better. At one point, the man calls the news station and says, and I'm going to say what he says because it don't make a lot of sense, but he says, "Why would the cops keep on cruising by?" He said on the phone, "Because they want to take me out. Because I'm going to take this whole country down. That is why. I got the paperwork on the SWAT team who's out here in front of me. They read it. They don't care." Then his girlfriend says, "They want me to come out so they can shoot him or they can shoot me if I come out. They're corrupt and we've got them by the balls and they don't even know what's going on." Eventually, authorities used tear gas to subdue the suspects and take them to jail.
You know what they should have done? That dude's kicking out windows showing his ball sack, right?
Yep.
They should have got a sniper a pellet gun.
Shot him in the
Shot the-
balls.
Shoot him right in his little helmet.
Just take a paint gun.
Oh, yeah, that
A
hurt.
paintball would hurt right in the little sack.
Oh, he would have been laying down for half an hour.
They wouldn't have even needed tear gas. I can't believe he called. So he calls the news station to tell them the cops are corrupt and they've been cruising by his house all day trying to catch him doing something.
You don't think it was the naked guy mooning people and showing his penis to
He
cars
had
driving
2
by?
warrants out for his arrest. I think they were probably
Was that
going
his
there.
paperwork to prove they were corrupt?
Yeah.
Oh,
See, they got these fake
well,
warrants.
it's fake.
It ain't real.
It ain't real.
They trying to get me.
It's conspiracy.
And then and all the man wanted was a Mountain Dew and some marijuana. That's all he wanted.
Well, at least Oregon has recreational weed for the guy.
I think the Mountain Dew is probably worse for you.
Probably.
They're like, "We were going to get you the cannabis, sir, but then you threw in a Mountain Dew and cigarettes. We're not here to promote death, so you're not getting either one
What
of them."
about Red Bull?
Y'all got some rep? Is Max out there?
Max.
I'm not coming out till Max calls me on my cell phone.
Help me out, Max. You're number one.
Max will get me out of jail.
Oh, shoot. He's 6 seconds ahead of me. on turn 6.
Max is too fast.
Damn that boy.
All right, next place we're going is Texas. Now, Jamie actually has heard of this story. I'd never heard of it, but a Texas man went into an abandoned home to smoke weed, but when he got inside, he found more than just a buzz. He found a tiger in a cage.
That's just messed up, dude.
It took a little convincing before police believed the man when the man called the cops and reported the tiger, but eventually the police went out there. The man called the police and claimed to have entered an abandoned house in Houston to smoke pot, and instead he found a tiger. Police repeatedly asked the suspect as to whether he was under the effects of the drug or if he actually saw a tiger. Once the police finally arrived, they found a caged tiger in the home with a bunch of packages of meat in it.
So was someone housing this tiger and feeding him, or did they abandon the tiger along with the house?
I think they abandoned the house, but they were coming back.
Oh, they're waiting for the bank to get the tiger?
Maybe.
Foreclosure sale.
Little
Included in this 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch here in Texas is a tiger.
I think it was more like, I dare you to foreclose on my house. I have a tiger. I mean, is this just like that show?
The dude like take a hit and go,
Tiger Man.
Whoa, this is some good shit, dude.
I mean, he gets
I'm seeing tigers, man.
lions
There's a
and tigers.
freaking tiger.
And bears. No, I mean, this guy gets high, walks in an abandoned house, and there's a tiger. Now, the man gets charged with breaking and entering. I don't think he really broke in. I think he just walked in. And then the homeowner got charged with caging a
Did you know if you
tiger.
open an unlocked door, the turning of the door handle
Was breaking.
is breaking and entering?
Okay. What if it's unlocked?
You broke the threshold. Oh, that's unlocked.
So it's
Like if someone walked into your garage with
Right
an
now.
unlocked door, as we're sitting here making this podcast, that is breaking and entering.
which is illegal.
Because he broke the threshold, not broke something in the building. Uninvited.
It's a stand your ground state we live in.
I know, I'm loaded.
Locked and loaded.
Yep.
So
You know, I had some crazy freak come to my house.
Yeah.
And I got a gun in the foyer.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
fancy.
Now it's kind of hidden. But he was smart enough to say, "Hey, that's a gun." But he was anti-gun. I said,
Guy
"Well, don't."
breaks in your house and y'all get into
Well,
a
he
debate
was
over
a friend of
guns?
ours. He was a friend of ours. And I said, "Well, just don't touch it. It will not go off. I guarantee it if you don't pick it up."
Unless the cat gets it.
And he said, "Well, why do you have that here?" I said, "If someone's uninvited, I'm going to shoot them." He said, "Well, what if they get the gun?" I said, "I have other ones. I'll shoot them with that one." And he said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, the caliber's larger the closer I get to my safe room."
The farther into the house you get,
I said, "Now in the safe room,
that dynamite.
you don't want to be near the safe room." And he
That'd be
said,
bad.
"Why?" I said, "Because you'll die unless I invite you in the safe room." Panic room, they call it, but I don't panic.
You just get safe.
I open the gun portals.
You have gun portals in your safe room?
Well, I mean, don't you want to fire back?
That's funny. I got a pirate ship.
I got
Boom.
fire extinguishers, fire suppression system independent of the house, and gun portals.
You have cannons? I'd have a cannon.
I don't have a cannon.
You
I
should get
did.
a cannon.
I had a cannon, a celebration cannon
Yeah, that would work. That would hurt.
that we'd shoot off 4th of July. It's about a foot long.
Yeah.
You can still buy them. There's a guy that sells them at Kennesaw Mountain.
Yeah, well, that would hurt somebody.
We got to where the kids and I were stuffing rocks in it and blowing up targets.
See?
See, I mean, shrapnel.
You need a cannon
Yeah.
in the safe room. You can't have a real safe room till you have a cannon in it.
I mean, it comes with black powder and fuses. It's kind of like real time colonial war, revolutionary stuff.
We had I forgot where we were at.
They're like $100 for a lot of fun.
Yeah, for a cannon.
Uh-huh.
We could shoot a cannon off on the show.
On
Just
President's Day?
Open the side door. Poof.
That'd make
shoot.
a good short.
Smoke comes out.
We
billowing
haven't
out.
shot it in a while. The kids grew bored with it. I'll hunt it down.
I remember my wife had a friend who knew we had.
I thought you were going to tell me your wife had a cannon.
No, I wish. Then we go get it and
That'd
shoot
be
it.
pretty badass.
She had a friend who was like, I can't believe you keep a loaded weapon in your home. I'm like, would you keep a empty fire extinguisher in your home? She goes, no. I said, okay. Same concept. No, not going to keep an empty gun. I'm not going to keep an empty fire extinguisher. It's pointless.
Well, if you teach your children how to respect it, they're not going to go around playing cowboys and Indian with a live gun.
Exactly. I mean, I was raised around guns. My dad, I remember walking into the living room when I get home from school after my dad would get back from a hunting trip, and there's rifles laying in the floor in the case. I never went and opened those cases to play with guns because I knew what a gun could do because I had shotguns at a young age. I mean,
well, your dad probably took you hunting. You blew away an animal and said, "Oh, that's gross."
I mean, you learned gun safety was something gun safety is something I taught my children. So,
well, you know,
my kids know, and I think a child at a certain age needs to shoot a gun, so they
feel
know
the power of it.
Yes, so they know what that gun can do, and they understand it is not a toy. And I think
it's a tool of death. I mean, that's what it is.
As soon as you shoot a gun, you know it's not a toy. I mean, there's no way around it. I mean, I enjoy shooting guns. It's fun. Go out target shooting.
We call it plinking. Go out and plink. Shoot targets.
Well, I found next place we're going to go is Minnesota because you were just recently in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
So a 71-year-old Minnesota man is arrested after mooning police officers and attempting to flee on foot. An officer was driving by a bar when he recognized a vehicle owned by the man. The officer had pulled this man over for driving intoxicated twice the month before.
It sounds like my father-in-law.
Like, why is this dude still driving? Why is this dude still driving? If he got 2 DUIs and he's 71 years old, I mean, he's still political age for a politician, but he's 71, and he runs.
He's young for a president.
Yeah, I know, and he runs from the cops. Like, you had to chase him? The officer called to check on the man's conditions of his release to learn whether he was allowed inside a liquor serving establishment. Just shortly after ending the call, the officer watched the man walk up to the squad car as he dropped his pants and revealed his naked butt to the officer. Then the man tried to pull up his pants while running towards his known residence.
Wow.
But as he was running away, as would happen when your pants are around your ankles, you will get tripped up instead.
I mean, I have this theory that when you drop trout like that, you need to take them all the way off. If you have an escape plan.
I want you to picture this. This is a guy in a retirement home, 71 years old, gets drunk, walks outside, moons the police, runs away. Now, that's comical in itself. That's not even taking into account he's going to trip over his pants. Just a 71-year-old drunk man running from the police after mooning them is enough to make you laugh. But there's more. These pants, he don't get them pulled all the way up. So as he's running from the cops, gets a couple yards away, pants continue falling down around his ankles, tripping him up, face first, man's down. He was running to his house. Like, there's so many bad decisions here. You don't run home. And if you're drunk and not supposed to be in there, would you moon the cop?
Well,
I mean, I've never been to Minnesota. You tell me. You know,
even in Georgia, I don't moon the cop.
But in Minnesota, you would.
But I don't drink like this.
It's a good thing.
I think you have a problem if you run around mooning cops with your pants down.
Yeah.
You got 2 DUIs and you're still going to liquor store or bar,
well, I think
establishment, as it says here.
I think his thought was probably, you can't do nothing about it.
You would have thought the judge would have mandated, what's it called? AAA, AA, Alcoholics Anonymous,
AA,
Incorporated,
AA.
Well, yeah, mandate that.
This dude was charged.
I mean, just tell a story. When I was in college, I was a passenger in a vehicle.
Naked?
And no, I was not naked. I was in college then too.
That's another story.
We were sober.
If you hadn't heard that,
well, we were pulling out.
I think I would have told everybody I was drunk.
There's this big horseshoe at University of Maryland.
Yeah.
It goes Fraternity Row, and it's one way. You enter and you exit. And it was raining real hard, and we hadn't quite made it to the stop sign for US 1, which bisects University of Maryland campus.
Yeah.
Major thoroughfare. And I told him, dude, You better turn right. And he drove right up the staircase of one of the campus's buildings. And of course,
That didn't go over well.
he got arrested.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was fully clothed, but when the police showed up, I started to run and got caught. And the judge mandated that the driver go to Alcoholics Anonymous, and because I was intoxicated, I had to go too. But I guess in Minnesota, they don't have those thoughts.
Well, I mean, he was banned. He was released, but he wasn't supposed to go back to the bar. So he violated his probation by going to the bar. He was charged with indecent exposure, fleeing the police on foot, disorderly conduct, and a probation violation. So, I'd say it didn't work out too well for this guy.
See, with us, we were just, back in the day, we were just college kids being college kids, and it didn't stick with us. The judge said, I forget, adjudicate or basically erase. I'm not a lawyer. I don't even pretend to be one. But he said, once you go to AAA or whatever, I'll
drop it.
Yeah. So
that's how it was. I mean, and that's how
they don't do that anymore. They just ruin your whole life.
Yeah, but I think kids are gonna do stupid things
because we're dumb when we're kids.
Some
adults are dumb.
I don't mean I condone these stupid decisions, but
this guy's 70. He should have learned by now.
Yeah,
I mean, we got an issue.
We're talking about.
This is a guy
18 versus 71.
This is a dude that's gotten away with doing whatever he wants for his whole life.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's got a problem. I'd say.
Doesn't feel like there are any consequences for his stupid behavior. He's just a genius.
Yeah, he's a chronic.
Yeah, he's a chronic.
Way too much.
Maybe he needs to move to Florida.
But at least
isn't that a magnet for those people?
I don't even think this would have been a news story in Florida.
No.
It's just Tuesday. That's just Earl.
Might have made the penny picture.
We'll let Earl go. Earl, you run on home. Earl, get your pants pulled up, or you ain't ever going to make it home.
Earl got him a Milwaukee's Best naked again at the 7-Eleven in Orlando.
He was at a bar.
We told Earl to put his pants on.
That could be a 7-Eleven in Florida. I don't know. I know in North Carolina they got grocery store bars.
Is it? Yeah, we saw it.
Fred's. Lowe's. What's wrong?
Lowe's. Not the hardware store.
The grocery store. The Lowe's hardware store was next
door
to
the Barfly at the wine bar.
The Lowe's hardware store was next door to our hotel, which is now a CIA.
I don't think it was ever a Lowe's. I think they pay Lowe's.
It was the
Lowe's.
It was the Lowe's corporate headquarters at one time.
Said so.
Well, they were talking about it on another show. Now they have cameras everywhere with 30-foot fences and security guards.
And like 3 cars come in there during business hours.
That's it.
I think it's a computer station. Whatever you call those places like Amazon has all over.
I think
not their distribution.
I think it's a CIA black site.
Yeah, I believe it.
I mean, it's secure like one, so you never
That's
know.
where they listen to our phone calls. And when you say a buzzword,
that's where
the 3 people there listen to what you said. Like, he said NSA.
Episode 75. Race car spelled backwards. They'll be listening. They'll all get. See, that's how we up our listenings. We say the buzzwords.
I had a friend say a word like NSA.
Yeah, and he got listened to.
He told me it was a sex thing, and I don't think so.
I'm pretty confident NSA is not a sexual position.
No, it wasn't a sexual thing. He's on dating apps. He's off his third wife. What do you tell me it means?
NSA, not safe at home?
No sex allowed? No, because he's looking for sex. No strings attached. Yes, that's what he told me it was.
I've never heard that.
And it's on Grindr, which I thought I use a Grindr every morning when I make coffee.
Yeah.
I think it's an app for sex.
They have an app for your coffee?
But I'm not going to Google that after what I Googled in last week's episode.
You went from Googling lingerie to
I finally cleared my history.
Tinder.
So on Facebook, I would stop getting Filipino women looking for American husbands.
All those Ukrainian women wanting you to marry them. Oh, Jamie, you marry me.
Is that how Trump found his current wife?
Maybe.
Ukrainian dating site?
Maybe. Hunter introduced him.
Yeah, Hunter.
All right, next place.
I think they're in cahoots, Hunter and Trump.
I'm sure. It wouldn't surprise me. Next place we're going is Louisiana. A Louisiana man is arrested after he claims a ghost planted meth at his home and he falsely reports being stabbed multiple times with an axe.
At least the ghost didn't hide in his butt.
That's true. A Louisiana man who claimed that a ghost planted drugs on him after he was hit in the head with an axe, despite having no visible wounds, is now under arrest. The man called the police and reported that there had been a stabbing at his home. When deputies arrived, the man shouted at them and at the ghost, who was obviously not there. Officials noticed that the man had not been stabbed in the head with an axe as he had claimed. He told deputies that the ghosts were in his home. After investigating, police determined that this wasn't the case. He then told authorities that the crystal meth on his nightstand was planted there by a ghost who happened to be climbing out a nearby window, when the police also determined this was false.
So did he call the police on the ghost and they found the meth?
He called the police because he had been stabbed in the head by an axe, by the ghost.
I think he's testing the product too much.
Oh, he had quite a bit of meth on the end table by his bed.
Yeah.
It was obvious he was selling the product and not just using the product.
If I was a drug dealer, I would not use the drugs.
Would you, if you were a drug dealer and you were not using the drugs,
I probably wouldn't see any ghosts either.
and you got caught by the police, would your go-to answer be a ghost did it?
I would probably hire enough layers between me and the people that are handling the drugs where I had plausible deniability.
Where you didn't have to worry about the ghost showing
No,
up?
they could only catch me with the money.
I mean, in Louisiana, they got all that voodoo and witchcraft stuff.
Well,
so
they live out there in the bayou too.
it's feasible to believe that a ghost really did this. So
Maybe it was part of one of their voodoo religious acts, snorting meth.
do you think this man shorted a guy meth on his delivery, and then the guy
Put a
died
curse on him.
and came back? This is a guy who's mad at this guy. See,
Maybe he mixed some fentanyl with his meth.
Maybe he's
killed the dude. The
and-
dude is pissed in the afterlife.
he's like, and then he comes back with an axe.
Yeah.
Because he's a ghost, it was a ghost axe. So,
And it physically did not put a gash in his head.
and he won. The ghost won. I mean, if you think about it, the ghost won here because the
Man.
police couldn't prove the ghost was real. That's not an argument you're going to break out
I like
in
that
court.
story. I'm going with that. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ghost was getting revenge on his drug dealer who sold him meth laced with fentanyl, too much fentanyl. He comes back, stabs him in the head multiple times with an axe. The guy calls 911 because naturally you've been hit in the head with an axe. You're probably calling 911. 911 gets there, no axe wounds because it's a ghost and a ghost axe. Ghost takes off out the window in the bedroom, leading the cops and the man towards the meth the man has stored on his nightstand. Cops go and find it, and he's like, oh, the ghost left it. But you can't use a ghost as an excuse in a courtroom.
There was this dude. What was that big hurricane that flooded Louisiana?
Cantina.
And they all moved here to
Katrina.
Atlanta. Yeah.
Say Cantina.
I worked with a dude that came from underwater, New Orleans.
Down yonder.
Yeah. He was an HVAC guy.
Yeah.
He believed in voodoo and Christianity. He said they were intertwined.
I mean, they talk about witchcraft back in the Old Testament Bible.
Well, and there were witches, but
Sorcerers.
I mean, he would do weird stuff to keep bad curses and juju away from him.
Like burning sage.
Yeah, but then he would quote the Bible verses, and you're like, hold it, can you believe in both? And he claimed that you could. I didn't delve too deeply into that because it seemed strange.
When I was a kid, I was very much intrigued with witchcraft and voodoo and stuff like that. I mean, I watched, it's probably from the, like, Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
It was Disney that corrupted you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 'cause
Hocus Pocus.
they're all about Satan worship.
The Nightmare Before Christmas. Halloween. I mean, Halloween's still one of my favorite holidays to this day. I love Halloween.
It's a great movie.
Halloween? Oh, yeah.
They're still making them.
I know, but I really only like the Rob Zombie versions. And I like the first one Rob Zombie did, where it kind of went back on Michael Myers as a kid. That was probably my favorite Halloween movie ever. It wasn't one of those horror films like jump out slasher.
See, I saw the first one was like 8 years old. Jamie Lee Curtis, the first one, scared the living crap out of me.
You haven't watched any since?
Oh no, I watch them all.
Oh,
They just don't scare. You know, we've become so
desensitized.
to that stuff that now
Right.
it's like that wasn't a good jump scare.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. I don't like jump scare. I do not like to be jump scared. I don't like to be startled like that. It's not fun for me. So I don't even watch those movies. Remember that movie Signs?
Yeah, with Mel Gibson before he looned out.
Yeah. So we go. I think it was Signs.
That was before he joined the Klan.
We go see that movie in at the movie theater when we were in high school. Me and my wife and some friends of ours. And
Was that M. Night Shyamalan?
I was holding my drink whenever they're outside walking around. They hear the noises and they go outside to see what's out there. And the dog barks. Yeah, when that dog barked, I jumped, threw ice everywhere. It was hilarious. We still talk about it to this day. I thought it was funny, at least. I laughed. But I hate that. Like, I don't watch horror movies that are like jump scary like that.
Unfortunately, I think that stuff's really going to happen, even though I think Mel Gibson's lost his mind.
Oh, no doubt. But I'm just not a fan of being jump scared. I liked House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects. I wasn't. 3 from Hell was a little much. I think Rob Zombie had pushed the envelope so far by the end of Devil's Rejects that 3 from Hell.
And we're acclimated now.
But did you?
He couldn't go any further. I haven't seen 3 from Hell.
So it was too much. Honestly, he took it too far for me.
It's probably free on Netflix somewhere.
I think it's on Netflix. Maybe.
I mean, Halloween's coming. I'm gonna watch them.
You saw House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects?
Yeah.
What's wrong? Don't you like clowns?
No.
I loved Captain Spaulding. The dude was insanely crazy, but I was supposed to go see a premiere of that movie, 3 from Hell. I'd bought tickets online, and they were only doing like one night for it, and that dude that played Captain Spaulding passed away. So they ended up postponing it because of his funeral, and then they came out with 2 new release dates in honor of him, and I was supposed to go and ended up couldn't go. I actually think we moved back to Georgia before the movie happened in Alabama.
Dude, I don't know if I'd watch that in Alabama. That stuff's real in Alabama.
They protest you.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's talk about some NASCAR racing. This weekend they raced at Kansas. Jeff Gluck poll, 87% so far says yes, it's a good race. 13% say no, it wasn't a good race.
What do you think?
All right, so don't forget, sometimes crap, it does happen. And sometimes you need a plumber to fix it. In that case, we would call Danny Carden Plumbing, the official plumber of the Race Car Spelled Backwards podcast. The guys you call when crap happens. I think it was a good race.
We go as high as 87%?
Nah. I mean, like I said earlier, I thought it was a good race, but
Give it a grade, A through F.
I'll give it a B. It wasn't a great race, but it wasn't a bad race.
Kind of like B minus, C plus.
Yeah, you said A through F. I mean, I wasn't going minuses. I just roll with a B.
Well, then I'd go with a C.
Really? You think Darlington was better or worse than Kansas?
About the same.
I thought Kansas was a little better than Darlington, honestly.
Well, you know, one thing
I was racing the whole race. Like
there was, and there was tire fall off, your friend Truex proved.
There was way more wrong with that car than
rear right seemed to be a problem for a lot of people when they stayed out too long, which was nice.
Yeah, it was nice to see a tire fall off. I just don't like seeing tires blow out.
Now, Denny would have won it had that caution not come out.
No doubt. He got jacked.
He got screwed.
I mean, Tyler Reddick took Eric Jones and Joey Logano 3 wide to win that race.
Well, Eric Jones and Joey Logano had 2, right?
Yeah, that's what the race came
down. They
were
just a moving roadblock.
That's all they were. Now, obviously, Joey Logano is well known for his blocking skills, where Eric Jones isn't. I think.
Unfortunately, below the white line was allowed, so Joey couldn't do it.
I'm not a fan of what Eric Jones did. You stay out to get better position in a subpar car. He's not in a car that really should be up
It worked out
there.
for him, though.
Yeah, but Denny Hamlin, I think, would have caught Tyler Reddick in turns 3 and 4 if Eric Jones wouldn't have been blocking on the straightaway, front straightaway.
Well, he was kind of in tandem with the blocking.
He's
with
lucky
Logano.
He's lucky Denny didn't put him in the wall. But that would have ended Denny's day too. Denny was smarter.
Denny wants to go move up too. I mean, dude, it's going to be a shit show in Bristol. I'm telling you, Logano was going to wreck the whole field while we're there.
Checkers or wreckers for Logano.
Yep, because he ain't in it. I mean, he doesn't have it.
No, Ford hasn't had it.
And RFK
is the only Ford that has had it.
Yep.
I agree with
Harvick ain't going to the next level. He's not. He's getting cut.
You think he don't make it to the next round?
Well, he's going to have to drive like Joey does. Harvick doesn't drive like Joey. That's the problem. He's going to have to drive out of character to win.
Here's one thing. I don't know that if anyone else is going to bring it up, but like we were just talking, Logano and Jones stayed out. They didn't stay out. They got 2 tires. Daniel Suarez, he stayed out. He had 40-lap old tires and stays out thinking it's going to work out. Where'd Daniel finish at? 16th.
Well,
he dropped like a rock in water.
He would have done better with new tires.
Then you had Hamlin.
That didn't pay.
Hamlin, Larson, Reddick, Elliott, and Keselowski all had 4 tires. They'd been faster all day. Eric Jones throws a block of all blocks. I mean, he really is lucky that Denny didn't put him in the wall. 4 calls was obviously the winning call there. It did work out for Jones and Logano, like you said, but here's one thing I'm not sure if anybody's going to talk about. That restart, if you watch that restart, Kyle Larson is like 6 car lengths back behind Denny Hamlin. Denny has to drop back to prevent Kyle from having such a massive run on him on the green flag. That opens up room in front of him for Tyler Reddick to go up. NASCAR's really quick to throw a penalty if you jump the restart. But every weekend they warn these guys and threaten them, don't hang back on a restart.
Well,
and every weekend they do it, and NASCAR does absolutely nothing. So I'm wondering if anybody else had a problem with that or noticed it.
No, I noticed it. I thought maybe, I don't know how to fix it, though. Do you know how to fix it? Do you have a fix for it other than penalize them?
I mean,
put them at the back of the...
Larson's already in the next round.
Make them do a drive-through? Right? Yeah.
He won last week, so why not just make an example out of him this week?
Make them drive through pit road after the first lap?
Why not? Make him do a pass-through.
I mean, that's the only way you're going to fix it.
If you start hitting these guys, I mean, it might not have been 6 car lengths, but I guarantee it was at least 2 to 3. And you can visibly see Denny drop back to kind of lay back some too as well. And that opened up in front of him. So him and Reddick should have been starting side by side, but now they're not. Reddick goes straight up, fills that open hole, and wins the race. Denny could have essentially won that. Honestly, if Denny wouldn't
have had to wreck his own team, though?
If he wouldn't have dropped back to block Kyle, he might have won. But then Kyle was going to have such a run on Denny.
But don't you think Denny's a little conflicted? My guy's going to go to the next round.
Reddick was already 50 points to the good, so he was going to the next round, I believe, anyway. But
see, I'm thinking conflict of interest here. This is what I'm thinking.
I think Denny would wreck his own team to win a race.
Have not heard Denny's podcast because it's not out yet.
Yeah, none of them are out yet.
I'm curious what his feelings are.
I'm sure he's mad at Eric Jones for blocking him. I thought it was an egregious block, personally. I don't think Eric had earned the right to throw that block this season. The dude shouldn't be up front. I'm sorry. He hasn't been there all season. He shouldn't be there. So he's the only non-playoff driver in this mix. Don't throw a block on a playoff driver. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I want to throw something out while we're bitching.
What?
I want to declare I'm no longer a Chase Elliott fan. Even though we're from the same state, born and bred.
Let's go ahead and talk about that then.
He's a full-grown baby man.
So as they're exiting the pits, Kyle Larson, to avoid Brad Keselowski, gets into Chase Elliott.
Barely
touches him. Then Elliott, when they get out a little farther down off pit road, swerves and gets into Kyle Larson. Barely, not hard at all. Neither incident caused any damage on either car.
I didn't see Brad on the outside of Chase, though.
Reddick was out there.
Well, not that close.
No.
So,
Well, it was.
What's the problem? Does his spotter suck? Did his spotter not say, "Oh, he had no choice"?
Obviously,
Brad was going to hit him.
It's so obvious that Chase Elliott and his team have a communication issue this season. Like, they let him run out of gas. They told him he had 13 laps to go on a reserve tank at Watkins Glen. Like, there's a communication issue. It's either right in this area here for Chase Elliott, and he's not understanding the words coming into his head, or they're just not getting along.
Or did Daddy...
Maybe Chase is such a prick.
Maybe Daddy raised an entitled kid.
Maybe he's a prick to his team, and they don't...
Could be.
They don't want to help him.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what? Screw you, dude.
So where does he go if HMS says, all right, I'm done with you?
He's not going anywhere.
You're driving Xfinity.
He will be the most popular driver again. He's got a huge fan base.
I don't think he can keep up what he's doing and be the most popular driver.
We'll see at the end of this season. I like Chase because he's from Georgia, but that is literally the only reason I like him. He doesn't have a personality.
I'm tired of his attitude.
I mean, he's already been suspended one race this year for throwing a temper tantrum. So why does this shock anybody that he hits?
Why didn't anyone tell him before he went and approached Larson in his car?
Well, then they interview him. That's the part that annoyed me the most. Now, I know Chase can't say I intentionally hit him. I get that. That's NASCAR. NASCAR put these drivers in a tiny little box where they can only say NASCAR-approved sayings.
Do you think in the team meeting they're going to say, hey, Chase,
chill,
relax?
So
you're not in the chase, dude. Kyle is.
They interviewed Kyle Larson, and he's like, yeah, I don't really know what happened. Brad came out. I got into him. I'm sure when Chase looks at the replay, he won't be as mad. He'll understand what happened. Then they asked Chase, they're like, were you trying to send a message? And he's like, nothing happened. No message. Nothing happened. No message. Chase, we all have TV, man. We saw something happen.
That was a hard pull to the right and then a jerk back to the left.
I mean, he can't say it. He can't admit that, though, because he'll be suspended, penalized. I mean, that's the NASCAR way.
Yeah, but he's got no skin in the game anymore. Just admit it. You're out.
Look, Chase Elliott, to me, right now, is the equivalent of the Fox truck broadcast. They're just phoning it in. They don't care. Chase don't care. Chase is playing third fiddle right now at HMS. He don't care what happens. He's going to go out there and drive his race. If he wins, he wins. If he wrecks his teammate, he wrecks his teammate. If he wrecks the car,
he's DeBenna Elliott. DeBenna Elliott.
Yeah, he's Chase DeBenedetto.
I'm tired of his act, dude. He needs a change.
I mean, I don't see Chase changing. It is what it is with Chase. That's just how it is. He's not going to change. I just don't like the fact that when they interviewed him on TV, he's just like, I don't know, it's just an arrogant answer, cocky, arrogant, annoying. I mean, it annoyed the crap out of me. Like, no message, no message, no message. I'm like, dude, just own up to it. Or just say, we'll talk about it. We got together, we'll talk about it. Crap.
Yeah, we'll talk about it at a team meeting Monday.
Something.
Tuesday, whenever.
Other than being a snotty, hoity-toity with your nose snuffed up at the rest of the community.
Hey, Jamie Little, do you have a dude wipe? My ass stinks. I mean, come on. Let's do something.
Lap 4.
I know Jamie Little's with Fox. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, and she's doing the broadcast.
She's in the studio calling the truck race.
Michael's basement, like I like to call it.
Yeah.
Look, here's my deal with Truck Series. I'm boycotting it. I will not watch another truck race when the broadcast booth is not at the track. I'm not boycotting the Truck Series. I can still listen to it on MRN. I can still watch recaps online, follow it on Twitter. I can do all that. I'm just not physically turning on the Fox broadcast and watching a truck race while the broadcast team is in Charlotte in a studio.
Maybe you and I should do a 2-hour truck race where we call the race from home because it's no different.
Dude, we could do that. We'll broadcast the race. We can broadcast it if
we can put it behind us on a Zoom call.
Yeah, we can just sit here.
Yeah.
Well, what we can do is we'll watch
Put a
it.
monitor here and put it behind.
I don't know if we can actually have it playing on our video though. So if we'll just watch it and you'll watch us while you're watching it. So we'll do a YouTube live while we broadcast the truck race that we're watching on TV.
It'll be no different than Fox.
Do you think that's why Fox broadcast booth misses so many wrecks? Is because they're also at caution?
I mean, look,
I think they're legit watching it on YouTube TV like we are.
If we wanted to see something more corrupt than the Fox broadcast, it'll be the presidential debate.
Yes. It's horrible, man. Like,
I mean, let's get two 80-year-olds to talk about the future of the country when they won't see the future of the country.
I just don't understand why they don't send. I know it costs money, but come on. Are y'all not getting paid? Send the broadcast team to the track. They can see the whole track out the window.
Do you think they're borrowing NBC's cameras to broadcast it? Are they paying NBC as a contractor to use their cameras?
Would not surprise me. They're third party in it. Subcontracting the camera work out. That would not surprise me at all. But I'm just not watching it. I didn't watch the truck race. Like Friday night, I'm like, okay, truck race is about to come on. What am I going to do? I can read a book.
Watch something on Prime.
Read a book, or I can watch the truck race. Ended up watching Fear the Walking Dead. That's what ended up.
I hope it was one of the earlier seasons.
Yeah, I've never seen the show before, so I just started season 1.
Oh, season 1's awesome.
Yeah,
I think you go about 6 or 7, maybe 8. It starts going, hold it. These guys are idiots.
Yeah, I'm on season 2 now, episode 1. That's what I watched last night. So I binge watched season 1 this weekend. It's like 1:30 in the morning. I'm like, yeah, I can do one more episode. It's way better than a truck race. I
saw an ad for it. Now they're like in Europe and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, he had a few issues. Martin Truex Jr. on lap 4 has an issue, hits the wall, and ruins my fantasy picks.
How that work for you there? You got a 36.
Dude, I don't get it,
Didn't Truex do this to you earlier in the year?
Truex had issues last weekend at Darlington. Then he has issues this weekend at Kansas. I looked up his stats. Truex has 42 starts at Bristol.
He's the regular season champion.
He has 4 top 10s at Bristol.
He's the regular season champion, though.
If I had 42 starts and 4 top 10s, that don't bode well for Truex going into Bristol.
Have you noticed
7 points below the cut line?
He's one of the few drivers.
Champion. I agree.
He can't outdrive his car. He has to have the best car on the track that anybody in that car. I'm a fan, but he's got to have the best car on the track that anyone in the field, if they were in it, they would win too. Even to Benedetto.
I don't think Joe Gibbs hires drivers that can outdrive their equipment. I think Joe Gibbs hires drivers that can be successful in good equipment. Joe Gibbs usually has good equipment.
The best, usually.
I think he's struggling to put 4 good cars on the track right now, or 3, because he has 3 in the playoffs. So you get one of them out of the playoffs, and then you can focus on 2 like HMS, who's Larson, dude. I'm telling you, Larson's going to the next round for sure. We already know it, but he's a threat for the championship, in my opinion.
He's good at Phoenix.
He's the best driver currently, in my opinion, in the championship chase.
Well, Reddick has momentum, and I think...
And Denny Hamlin's doing really good, too.
Could be Denny's year.
It could be. I think it's going to come down to Denny or Larson, and that's just me being real. I think it'll be Denny or Larson.
We know it won't be Chase.
No, that's a fact.
I got something to make it more interesting, though.
You think Truex goes on to the next round, or you think he's done here?
I think he's done.
Yeah, I don't think he goes on.
I got a nice little idea, though, to spice up the championship, the road to the championship. If you are out of the chase and you win 2 races during the chase, we expand the final 4 to 5.
No.
Yeah, bump out round.
I think you do elimination races.
Yeah, why not? Let them race in.
Yeah, we'll take 10
Take all the winners.
Take 10 cars to Homestead.
200 lap. The 100 lap race.
I wish we'd go back to Homestead.
Yeah, Homestead.
I think you can make, if you did Phoenix as 3 heat races,
And then go to Homestead?
and then a shootout with one pit stop,
That'd
maybe
be-
two,
Like a Bud shootout?
where you might be able to stretch it on fuel with one stop, but 2 stops guaranteed is what you need. You're going to have one guy who would try to limp it home with one stop, but I think that might fix Phoenix. You're racing too long. You got to shorten this thing way up, like 100 laps.
So I got a question for you.
What?
That dumpster fire called SHR,
Yeah.
what do you think is going to happen to them?
I mean,
They're losing sponsors. Their drivers remaining suck.
they always have.
There's a rumor they're going to sell 2 charters.
Yeah, I've heard it.
But Haas he could bankroll 4 cars if he wanted to.
You think they stay with Ford?
No.
I just think at this point we would have heard something. I don't think
They
we'd make
race-
it this far into the season.
They
without
race
hearing
better buying RC whatever engines
it. Yeah,
and
ECR.
ECR engines and getting HMS cars
No doubt. They were better as a Chevy team.
as a secondary Chevy team.
I think they would. I would love to see them go back to Chevy.
Was
They
Ho-
could be a powerhouse at Chevy, but Trackhouse now is in the way with their douchebag lineup. I really like Trackhouse.
Does
but I struggle to
Noah
like
come
their-
and race for SHR?
No.
Why not? I know Haas put the nix on Larson coming to race for SHR.
I think at best we see Noah in the Truck Series. I don't think
Really?
I don't think you see Noah in the Cup Series again.
Ever?
Maybe one day, but he's gonna have to.
I mean, look, Larson probably did something worse than he did.
But Larson went out that next season, his season off, and won like 180 sprint races. Then he came back to NASCAR and won the flipping championship right out the gate at HMS.
And Tony Stewart said he wanted him, but Haas nixed it. He said no.
You think Haas? Yeah, but Haas has a big corporation to protect. So you think he's going to bring Noah in, who like to?
Hendricks is basically sponsoring himself with his car dealerships. I know it's playing from one pot to the other, or bucket, as we like saying.
Yeah, but
the corporate world.
Their sales have increased so much; it's worth the investment.
Do you think
I went to HendrickCars.com and looked for a car recently. I didn't buy one, but I did go.
If I'm looking for a car, what's out there sucks, dude.
Go to HendrickCars.com.
No, I've decided not to buy another car.
What are you going to buy? A bike? Dude,
E-bike.
you should get a horse.
20 miles an hour to our meetings in Marietta.
You should get a horse and buggy and go all Mennonite. You could get a Mennonite outfit.
Go old school Quaker.
See you riding down. I see
Where
you
am I?
riding down 75 with your horse
With
and
my
buggy
Quaker Oats hat on.
and Quaker Oats hat on. I think you should do it.
I think there's a minimum speed limit on 75. I don't think a horse can do it. Isn't
If
it
you
45?
You could get over in the grass.
Get over there. Yeah, there's food for the horse too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that.
And if your horse poops there,
It's green.
it's like homeless
I'm
people.
recycling.
There's homeless too. If you get in Atlanta, they won't mess with your horse and buggy.
Not much grass in the median in Atlanta though. I have to go from like
You take 285.
Forest Park, the grass ends.
I think you take 285 though.
Oh,
You
yeah.
go all the way around Atlanta.
That'd work.
Go up the west end, the west side of Atlanta. I think that'd work. All right, we got one race. Got Bristol coming up. You got Larson locked in, Reddick's locked in, Denny Hamlin's plus 49, William Byron's plus 41, Keselowski's plus 33. I think we can safely say those guys are in, right?
Yep.
Then you got Blaney, 25, plus 25, and Busch plus 24.
Bush is falling apart here.
Every single week, Busch wrecks in practice, qualifying,
this
and
was
the
the
race.
first good finish he's had.
And it wasn't even a good race for him. He had
No.
issues. He's got to keep it together. I don't think it's a Busch problem. I think it's an RCR problem.
I think Chastain and Busher could do it.
Chastain plus 18, Buscher plus 13.
I
Bell
don't think
plus
Bell's
13.
any good.
I think Bell's inconsistencies are going to put him on the cut line.
Logano and Harvick are going to have to drive. Harvick's going to have to drive like Logano.
right.
Logano's going to drive like his tailpipe's on fire, and if he stops, he's going to explode.
Right now, you got Truex, Bubba, Stenhouse, McDowell.
I don't see any of them making it.
So those are your first 4 out. You don't think
Yep,
it'll change?
That's it.
I think Stenhouse could win Bristol. He runs
think?
really good at Bristol. Yeah, I do. I think Stenhouse could go out and win at Bristol. I don't think their car is performing at that pace to do it. I don't see a points. I think Bubba Wallace has to win at Bristol.
Well, Stenhouse.
Bubba's negative 19. Had a crap day yet. Blew a tire yesterday. Hit the wall. I don't see Bubba making it. I'm with you. I think the Truex Harvick could swap.
Yeah.
I could see Truex getting through with a good run, but it's going to be him and Harvick are probably going to finish around 10th or 11th together. So
I can see Logano wrecking the whole field to win.
Yeah, but I think he'll end up wrecking himself because he's going to be overly aggressive.
I can't see Harvick doing it.
He's got it in him. I just don't know if he'll do it.
I mean, that's what he has to do to win. His cars suck. I mean, there's nothing. There's no better word for it. SHR sucks this year.
That's what the S is for in SHR.
Sucks. Henry Racing.
Suckhouse Racing.
Suckhouse Racing.
Yep. That's their new name. For the rest of the season, we will be referring to Stewart Haas Racing as Suckhouse Racing.
And I am a gigantic Tony Stewart fan.
Love Tony Stewart. I like Kevin Harvick.
I like Kevin.
I hate Ford.
Sorry, I'm not a big Ford fan.
But I do like Kevin.
I mean, I don't want to lose listeners because I don't like Ford.
I don't like Ford. And I don't want to lose listeners because I don't like Ford, but I don't even like Toyota. Now, here's what's weird. I don't like Ford, and I enjoy not liking Ford, but I find myself pulling for RFK and Brad Keselowski.
Yes.
And Chris Bouchard.
He's from France, dude.
Bouchard.
Yeah. I think his family fought with Napoleon.
LGBTQ. Le Bouchard.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Chris Bouchard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could be French. I got a little French accent.
Well, you just spoke French. Isn't that the French language?
That's what I said. I got a little French fry accent going on.
Say, Peugeot.
Peugeot. Yeah, I'm French.
Say you're French.
I'm halfway there.
What about those?
What does Peugeot mean?
It's a car.
Okay.
They might be gone.
Well, I know most people learn the curse words in other languages first. So
I mean, the French can't make a car. I mean, can you name a French car?
Fiat.
Oh, that's Italian.
Nope. I guess not then.
Their cars suck, but Michelin's probably the best tire in the world.
Do you know the French didn't invent the French fry?
No, we did.
I know.
No, actually, I think it was the English.
But why do we call
They call it chips, though.
But why do we call it French fries?
I don't know.
It's weird.
See, I was once in England. Bought a bag of potato chips. You know, even a Lay's, it says a potato crisp.
Biscuit?
Potato crisp. Well, that cookie is a biscuit there. Sure. I don't know what a cookie is in England.
Do you eat a bunch of chocolate chip biscuits when you're in England?
They didn't seem to have chocolate chip cookies.
Ooh, no chocolate chip biscuits.
That's fully American there. That was invented in Massachusetts.
America's home of the sugar overload. We like to get you addicted on sugar at a young age with Halloween candy.
Have you noticed?
And then you stay addicted when you your whole life and become obese and live off the government.
Have you noticed when you enter any grocery store, the candy? I mean, as soon as Halloween's over, Christmas candy will be there.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as that's over, Valentine's candy. As soon as that's over, Easter candy.
All right. Great.
4th of July candy.
Here's a great debate for this week's show. Do you like candy corn?
No.
What?
I hate candy corn.
Why don't you like candy? I love candy corn.
Because it tastes nothing like corn.
Okay.
But it's full of corn syrup.
What does it taste like?
I'm not a candy eater. It tastes like just sugar. Raw sugar.
I mean, I'm not
eating food coloring.
I probably won't eat any candy corn now that my wife's got us on this healthy kick with organics and low sugar. Trying not to eat processed sugar or cane sugar.
So what's your favorite,
sugar.
Very favorite, #1 candy since Halloween's here in a month and the candy's already out?
All right, I'm going to tell you my favorite, but it's in the process of changing. York peppermint patties are my favorite.
Okay.
But my wife bought me this chocolate bar. I wish I could remember the name of it, but it's something we're trying to help the needy growers of cocoa.
Of cocaine. Same plant.
So the cocaine,
the cocaine?
The coca that they use to make the chocolate, my wife's trying to buy only stuff that like supports the farmers and not like Hershey's where they like steal it from the farmers. I think China's smuggling the Hershey chocolate in so we don't have to pay for it.
China probably grows their own chocolate now.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't watch the documentary that my wife watched on it, but apparently She bought me this chocolate
So
bar.
there's
And
some
it's really good.
war chocolate out there
Oh yeah,
where they take advantage of people.
it's called blood chocolate.
Blood chocolate, not as valuable as blood diamonds.
No, and they tried to get Leonardo to be
He
in it,
wouldn't
but
star in blood chocolate.
no. It's got some no-name actor in it.
My very
Soap
favorite
opera
candy
actor.
is Goldberg's peanut chews.
Peanut juice.
Chews.
Choose.
It's kind of
I
like
don't know that I've ever. Is that those soft and
Snickers.
fluffy?
no. You can't really find them around here. The
Goldbergs.
what is that? Yeah, there's a TV show that's pretty funny called The Goldbergs too.
I thought he was a wrestler.
Well, also there's a wrestler. I like the wrestler Goldberg too.
Yeah.
But I liked the candy before they came around. But I also watched
heard
the
it.
show on the wrestler.
I never
I'll
heard it.
find some for you. They have it at Five Below. Five Below has Goldberg.
My wife has to go
Peanut
to the
juice.
fancy store, the Fresh Market. It's like over in Peachtree City.
It's like Holcheck,
yeah,
except it's not.
yeah. It's like Whole Foods.
Because
or whatever
Amazon
it is.
owns it.
It's like Whole Foods.
Yeah, I know where it's at.
So
We have one in Macon.
She goes. That's where she has to go because they got the special chocolate. And all it is it's like when you buy coffee to support the local coffee growers, and it'll tell you which country it came from, the farmer.
Yeah, I have a friend that does that, Brad.
So it's
Not you.
We've discussed him before. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like that.
Brad Lurch.
It's similar to that except with chocolate.
I'll
So-
plug Brad Lurch's company. I can't remember the name. I'll plug it next week.
and I'll find out the name of this chocolate that we like now. But if I had to pick right now my favorite candy, I would say York Peppermint Patty. When I was a kid, like I'm sure we were like dirt floor poor, but when we go to the grocery store,
Did
my mom
your house have a dirt floor?
No,
Do you remember?
it was actually, my mom helped kept the house really clean when I was a kid.
So she cleaned the dirt floor so much that it
was no
looked like
longer
marble.
Yeah, it was marble floor.
Okay.
No, but I'm sure we didn't have a lot of money. Let's just put it that way. But we go to the grocery store, and like a treat was my mom would get a York Peppermint Patty, and me and her would split it, and that was a treat. So I guess that's why I like them. But to this day, it's my favorite candy. And you like
I don't have any poor
Goldbergs.
stories. I'm sorry.
when you was a poor kid,
Yeah, when I didn't have 2 nickels in my pocket,
but I had some
Mom and Daddy would give them to me.
Goldberg peanut fluff. I've never had it. You're gonna have to find it. And let me try it.
Yeah, fortunately, I kind of lived a charmed life.
All right, Jamie, we're going to Bristol.
Like
Where are
Chase
we not
Elliott.
gonna stay?
Am I an asshole like Chase Elliott?
Oh God, no.
No? Okay.
I have rode with you though, and
My dad beat the shit out of me, though.
yeah, his probably didn't.
It kind of...
This guy's he's not a bad driver, but he is what I would call a kamikaze driver.
Kind of like Joey Logano.
So you got regular pilots and you got kamikaze pilots, and see, he's one of them kamikaze ones. We're getting on the highway in Daytona. Dude in the F-250 coming up. We got to merge at some point. We're both going for the same lane.
But his truck was $250,000, and my car was what? Well, as I'm
Six.
realizing, probably a $6,000 car, but I thought it was a
We're in a Prius.
$2,000 car.
We're in a Prius. Here comes this truck. Jamie's going, he'll lift, he'll lift, he'll lift, he'll lift. Oh, slams on brakes. He goes, oh, he didn't lift. Dude, I'm clawing the door.
I think I probably dropped some other words, too.
Oh, you dropped a lot of words.
A lot of F-bombs.
He didn't lift at all. This guy wasn't lifting.
I mean, I thought he was going to be afraid to pop his $800 tire on me.
I
He
think
wasn't.
He was going over the top of us.
Yeah.
We were dying. All right, Jamie, we're going to Bristol. Where are we not going to stay at when we go to Bristol?
Well, we got some crazy stories, man. I'm actually repeating one because it's just my favorite. But first, it's a new one. These are some British people
British.
that came to experience Bristol. Do you think they got confused because Bristol is a town in England? They bought the wrong tickets, landed in Bristol, Tennessee instead of Bristol, England.
I think if you made that mistake, you're really, really, really having a bad day.
But I want you to consider their history.
Okay.
We were a pissant country that they pissed on, and we kicked their ass.
Yes.
It took 11 years. No, it took 76 to 82. 6 years. We still did it. We kicked their ass. Then in 1812, they're like,
Then we became friends.
oh, in 1812, they're like, screw these Americans. We're going to take them back. But they failed.
Well, I mean, they're getting us now with like the Great British Bake Off.
Well, the Beatles invaded us and won.
Yeah, so see, they got us back. Slowly but surely. All right, where we going?
Well, they landed and they said, well, let's start at the day we arrived. Our first night sitting on the outside pool area, having a drink and unwinding from our travel. Probably took them a day.
Probably.
We got spewed upon from someone in their balcony.
Spewed upon.
I think that's a barf or a puke.
I'm hoping.
The staff did nothing to reassure us. Just asked us if we knew where it came from. Luckily enough, it missed our heads, but covered our table and landed in our drinks and splattered on my partner's legs and my handbag. Not a good start. This was left out until the morning to be cleaned up. That's kind of gross.
I bet it stunk too.
So everyone had to sit at other tables with the sick and smell there all night. We never got slept. You would think being English, they would have a better understanding of their own language.
Nope.
We never got bloody slept.
Governor.
Should I read it as a dumb English person?
Please don't. Please don't.
Due to the rowdy folks arguing and slamming doors and kicking doors and shouting foul language till about 3 a.m. I'm expecting it.
That's
while
Tennessee.
we're there. Well, that's race week.
Yeah.
I mean,
drunks.
Then we had a streaker who lost his keys, LOL. Makes sense.
Yeah, where do you keep your keys at when you're naked?
Your butthole. That's about it.
Yeah, well, we've seen that.
I guess you could put it on your necklace.
Well, we know that's where they keep their drugs at in California. We've witnessed a guy
we saw a guy pull out his drug tube out of his butthole.
Oh,
Then someone did number 2 in the lift, which we call elevator here in America.
I thought it was a car.
Which was left till morning too.
Number 2
for the cleaners.
Number 2
left till 2. Then one night, someone decided to spit from their balcony onto people.
Ooh.
That happens.
No.
At Bristol, race weekend?
I get it. Could be pee-pee.
It'd be a kid.
Maybe.
An underage drinker, I think, maybe.
Spoofing over.
Chewing tobacco. Let's spit our chaw on the people down at the pool.
Spoofing over the side.
Yeah.
Splooge.
Another night, someone had a flood, which poured out onto people sitting in the pool area.
What? Oh.
And we got soaked. I really feel sorry for the cleaners. Yeah. But it's race weekend, so.
It just doesn't describe what the inside of the room looked like, so.
Do you think they went home and told people to start watching NASCAR instead of F1 after this trip?
It bloody hell. It was nicey.
But they drive like crazy on that little loop-de-loop.
Loop-de-loop. That's a roundabout. They get on the roundabout and go on the inside.
With that saying, the standards for the cleaning of the rooms were not up to much. We wrote our date in the dust on the balcony rail when we arrived, and it was still there 2 weeks later.
Well, they stayed for 2 weeks.
They got a whole experience up there in the mountains, didn't they?
Doggy.
Woo!
They probably met the moon eye.
We later did the same thing on the fridge. What? Well, after having read a lot of reviews in Bristol, yeah, I believe it. The meals were okay, but saying that I had a touch of food poisoning for 3 days. What is that? Semi-diarrhea? Not full-blown?
Just I had a smidge of food poisoning.
No projectile pooping?
No. That's
just a little squirt? A little squirt?
Just a long time. That's a 30-minute doo-doo.
They didn't know that they called the squirt Mountain Dew up there at Bristol Raceway.
Shard.
I shardled.
Shardled.
Remember when we did the Cannonball Run when we were champions? We drove through Charlottesburg and went to the Loves.
And you sharded on the wall.
Sharded on the wall in Charlottesburg.
Hey, you're probably the first Cannonball Run to shard on the wall in Shardsburg.
Well, you know, we didn't put a funnel like some of those drivers and crap out on the road. We did have a Freddie Mercury tribute night. Well, obviously the Francis don't own it, or you would have had Leonard Skinner night.
Yeah.
And oh my God, he was awful.
Creedence Clearwater Revival's playing tonight.
We brought back Buddy Holly from the dead.
Elvis.
Yeah. He was awful, and he also had a bad night. Elvis. We left after the first song. He was playing the banjo. We decided to play bingo. Well, you know they're in the South. They're playing bingo.
Bingo.
Probably at a church.
Probably.
Babes
and bingo.
Played with cocktail stick and prizes. They were 20% off drinks in the nightclub.
He played with what?
What is that? When we were AI, so they weren't like in real life? Or was somebody called?
Absolutely intoxicated.
I found out how to. Oh, we found out that you had to pay for the zucchinis. Zucuzis. I think they meant jucuzzis.
Yeah.
They were drunk when they wrote this.
Jacuzzis.
Zakuzzis.
We was in jacuzzi.
On the roof, which were freezing.
What?
So they went to the spring race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be cold this weekend.
And we had to pay for the remote control TV, which we found is quite normal at a crappy hotel. And for the AC. What? That was race weekend. So yeah, probably. Also had to pay for the free Wi-Fi. Well, it's not free anymore.
No.
You're paying for it. Which was a ripoff. If you bought for 24 hours, it used 6 hours and logged you off, and then you had to pay again. Wow, so it's really 6-hour internet.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's horrible.
We were booked for 2 weeks. When first week ended, they had booked us out, so could not go into the room. Went to reception, and they asked how long we were extending for. Oh, that's one of those Travelocity trips.
Extended stay.
Yep, they didn't want to pay the Travelocity fee.
Yeah, they canceled it and made you rebook it for a higher rate.
They finally got it sorted out. Must say the girl Tammy was lovely.
Oh, Tammy.
And the girls there
That's Karen's
are
sister.
run off their feet, but very polite and do a good job. We had no sun on our balcony. Well, you probably shouldn't go to Bristol in the spring.
They didn't have a son
It's
on
kind of winter time up there. Maybe they did have a daughter. They should have gone to the pool and done a water birth.
We had our child on the balcony in Bristol, Tennessee.
It was bitterly cold the whole time.
Moon
We got told it was heated, but don't think it was ever.
It's only heated when the manager's peeing in it.
Would I recommend this hotel? Never in a million years. With a total waste of 2,500 pounds. You know, I looked up the exchange rate today. It's like $1.60. So they really paid like $4,000. They got ripped, dude.
$4,000.
They got British tax.
They stayed 2 weeks, though. I mean, that's a lot.
This was our first experience.
It's not $4,000 worth, and it's nasty, but
this was our first experience at NASCAR. Probably their last.
probably.
We also had a toilet which the sink gurgled whenever the toilet or shower was flushed.
They can't control that. That's just because they work together.
Yeah, that kind of would freak me out. I would think
Gurgle,
the
gurgle.
sewer's coming up my sink.
I mean, I could see where it would bother you, but it wouldn't flip me out.
The pipes rattled
But I'm not
very
from
loudly and had an awful smell from the sink whenever this happened. So do not go to room 569. I checked to make sure it was not the same hotel we're staying at.
Good. We'll review that one after we get there
We will give it a legit review.
next Monday.
And we'll name it since we're the creators.
Reviewers. Yeah.
And can prove with our reservation that we were there.
Correcto Mendo.
That's what our free lawyer has told us to do. Our pro bono, which I'm not. That sounds wrong.
Pro boner.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to do that.
that sounds like a porno.
Pro bono.
We don't make porns,
Dude.
but we should make a porn and
No.
call it pro bono.
I'm not making
I'm not starring in it.
You go with your buddy that you drove around town naked with. Y'all can go make shows together, but
He's up in D.C.
well, I mean, he might invite you up.
We never made a pro bono. A pro bono?
Would it be
Proto?
if y'all would have
Proto?
videotaped you riding around naked together? Would that be considered a pro bono?
Well, we thought we had big wieners. And
You thought you
now
had
that
a
we're
pro-
older, we
You
realize.
thought you had a pro bono, but you didn't.
Yeah, it ain't a pro bono. It's
Well,
amateur.
amateur hour
It's
over there.
amateur.
All right, let's read it.
I don't think there's a niche for what I got.
I'm sure there is.
I had to shave it to make it look bigger.
There it is.
So this is Kayla Gross again. We've probably done her 5 times. Well, that sounds wrong. With pro bonos
Pro bono.
and pornos.
Pro bono, Kayla.
I've never met Kayla Gross.
I want to.
Honey, if you're listening.
I would like to meet this lady.
But she gives it 1 out of 5. You can go back, way back,
I want to interview her on the show.
episode 5 or 6, and we named the hotel.
Yeah.
It's actually closed now.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I Googled it.
We was going to stop by.
I tried to find it again,
Did
but
you get it right
luckily my copy and paste from a year and a half ago was still on Google Docs.
Oh, yeah.
So Kayla, said, and this is 2 years ago, but it's really 4 now.
Moon Eye.
So it'd be like 2019 when she did this, Kayla.
Moon Eye Motel.
I think it's gross or gross.
Gross. I'm going with gross.
All right. Well, she says, if
Rock
I
and
could
roll.
put 0 stars, I definitely would. Would not recommend to anyone, especially if you have children. But she didn't have children with her. So I don't know why. We stopped here for the night and went in the room and checked it out. First, before we even went in the room, an old man, I assume lived there, asked me for $3 in quarters. Take a note of this, people. Brad and I are bringing $3 in quarters.
Yes, we're taking change.
Yeah. Which I declined, and I told him I didn't have any more cash on me. Which we find out she even lied.
She did.
She did have cash.
That's why I was so mad at her at the end.
We went in the room, and there was a hole in the middle of the floor. The old man popped out of the hole chortling. Chortling. I have not found that in any other review yet.
I've Googled turtle, and it just...
And you know, I have probably read 10,000 reviews since we started our podcast.
Never had a turtle.
Never had another chortling. In his strange hillbilly twang. His hands he kept in his pants. Y'all moon-eyed people, he chortled. I think she's a local, but she's not a hillbilly.
He called her a moon eye.
Yeah, y'all moon-eyed people.
I went to Fort Moon Eye recently.
He did. Just last weekend.
Yeah.
I hoped he was wearing underwear.
Probably wasn't, though.
But then he jumped out of the hole and ran out the open door to the parking lot. He was carrying a dang ice bucket. We realized he did have underwear, but no pants.
They were just that brown and dirty.
He would fit in L.A. where we saw that
no
guy
doubt.
with his Pringles in
He'd
his
be the
butt.
mayor.
Yeah, you'd be the mayor of Pringles butt tubes.
Pringletown.
So he would strip down, but he had knee-high socks and work boots on, screaming, "I want my $3!" My husband started screaming words at the old man that the pastor at our church would have fainted from. You think Jim would have fainted if we actually had the words?
Probably.
Really? You think Jim's never heard those words?
Well, I don't think he would have fainted,
Was Jim in the military?
No.
Yeah, he probably hasn't then. He's in the Lord's Army?
Oh, he's heard those words.
Well, he is from...
We all have.
He lived here in Atlanta.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lived in America. People scream that at you on Old National.
That's true.
They use those words. You'll see things on Old National you can't unsee.
We decided to check the beds for bed big D's.
Yeah, that big
Still
D.
don't. That's not me.
No.
In my pro bono.
He wasn't known in Big D.
We found cockroaches under the mattress and sheets. You know, they're still not concentrating on that hole in the floor.
No.
I mean, that is still kind of strange to me.
A hole in the floor that a man pops out of, I give you a pass on 0 star in it.
But she's looking at the long block. We looked at the pillow and found long black hairs there on the pillow. But the hole in the floor is okay. That the man popped out of.
No.
Apparently, they didn't clean the sheets or the netting. Well,
Betting.
Was Ned there? Ned Jarrett?
He was there.
It was at the race. That could have been where they put him up.
Maybe. Moon Eye Hotel.
I looked at the bottom of the bed. I still would have been concentrating on that hole in the floor.
That's all I'm talking about. Still.
Yeah.
There's a hole in the floor.
And there was a big dirt spot on the sheet. Probably because someone went down the hole in the floor and got their feet dirty. Yeah. In the crawl space.
That toe cheese everywhere.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Look. It's been a while since I read it. I couldn't get over the hole in the floor. Thank God. Thank God she said that.
Yeah, I'm glad you and her are on the same page now.
And this isn't even the worst of it. I'm still thinking that's the worst of it.
A hole in the floor with a man jumping out is definitely a problem. That is the worst it can get.
We opened the fridge, and there was a cockroach in the fridge. Probably came from the hole in the floor.
At least an Asian man didn't jump out.
And he was still barely alive. I've never been able to distinguish the sex of a cockroach. Have you?
Never looked hard enough.
Do they have vaginas or wieners?
I smash them.
Oh. Huh. We moved the fridge, and cockroaches just scattered everywhere. Well, you got a hole in the floor. I freaked out and said, let's leave. And as we grabbed our bags to go out the door, there was a damn cockroach on the damn bag that we just brought in 5 minutes before. See, there would be more dams if I experienced this. Then as we walked out, the old man came back out of the floor, or where did he come out? He came back out of where?
The floor.
Okay. So he's like going around the hotel under it and popping back out?
Yep.
So if they were going to have some lovey-dovey and some pro bono,
You couldn't do it there.
the hillbilly would have,
Yodeled.
yeah, chortled.
Twirled.
He chortled. He didn't yodel. That's probably, I'm going to call that a Blue Ridge yodel,
Yeah,
a chortle.
Twirtle.
Yeah. I'm going to chortle when we're at Bristol
No, it might attract.
during the race.
It might attract people.
Well, they're already there at the race.
It might
We'll be
attract people.
okay.
Might hit you up for some quarters.
Woo, yeah. Then we walked out. The old man came back and asked us for $3 again. Still nothing but boxer shorts, knee-high socks, and work boots. My boyfriend went and got our money back.
That's proper.
That was
attire.
nice that they got
Oh,
a
I'm
refund.
surprised.
They must have paid in cash.
Probably. So now she has cash. That's
Yeah.
why she had cash.
But the manager asked if we would like the king bed instead. So he didn't offer him another room. Was he going to let the half-naked hillbilly drag a mattress in,
We'll bring another bed in that.
put
room
it
for
over
you.
the hole in the floor?
You're laying there, it just bumps up.
And then she says, no.
No, we're leaving. Money back.
We got our refund, and as we were leaving, the half-naked old man was running in a tight circle, pulling ice out of his bucket, flailing ice all over the place, screaming, "Moon-Eye people have returned! Alert! Alert!"
Moon-Eye's here.
This guy knew his history.
Yeah.
You think he visited the Moon-Eye Fort in North Georgia?
No.
It's just over the mountains, if you look.
He was probably at another Moon-Eye fort that hasn't been discovered yet.
We climbed into our car, and the old man came back to us again, screaming as if totally insane as we were leaving, and he asked for quarters. I feel bad for him, so I dropped 3 $1 bills out the window.
It's my favorite part.
At the end of the parking lot, as my boyfriend came to a stop and looked both ways, the naked hillbilly caught up and threw my $3 back at me and screamed, "Moon-eyed bitch, I said quarters!"
I said quarters.
So
I didn't want no dollars. There's
You-
no vending machine
do
here.
you think we've Googled Moon-eyed people. Do you think she looks similar to Moon-eyed people? A pasty white?
I doubt it. She'd have to have those big, huge, black, saucer-shaped eyes to be moon-eyed.
Here's my favorite part. My boyfriend said, "I'm going to kick his ass." And I just started laughing. We left and went to the Days Inn on exit 7. I'm sitting here now,
Moving on up.
3 hours and a shower later, and still feeling nasty. Just by being in the hotel. It was disgusting. And the people who live here are sketchy as well. We will not be coming back.
Look, we know they're sketchy. There's no difference between that place where this is located and North Wilkesboro, where we saw Meth Ninja. Dude, we're at the red light, and this who we now refer to as Meth Ninja runs out of the woods at the Walmart red light, does karate, and then runs back into the woods.
But then we saw him at 3 in the morning when we came back.
Still doing karate.
I hope he went back in the woods for a break.
Remember, and then last week we were out together, and we saw this truck driver.
Naked semi-driver.
The truck is broke down on the side of the road. He's out there in his shoes, his underwear, rubbing his nipples,
That was
facing the woods. I don't even know what he
Yeah.
was doing. It reminded me
Why?
of Meth Ninja, but it wasn't Meth Ninja. It was Semi Ninja.
Maybe that was his cousin,
Big-
the truck driver.
Trucker Ninja.
You think he drives in
Maybe.
just his shorts? I mean, he didn't even have shoes on.
I think he was peeing.
He was Moon-eyed guy's cousin driving
Oh.
a tractor trailer.
No doubt. They're definitely related, for sure.
I'm surprised he didn't run in circles and throw ice around.
All right.
All right, we got some
Bristol race.
serious stuff going on now.
All right, we're going to Bristol. Race is 7:30 p.m. on USA Network and PRN. It is a 0.5-mile roval. I'm going to do the last top 10 here and the 3-race average finish. Busher with an average finish of 10.7. Chase Elliott, 11.3. William Byron, 14.7. Christopher Bell, 20.3. Kyle Larson's average finish here is 3.0, which probably means he's going to wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Chastain.
Especially if you pick him.
Yeah. Chastain has a 10.0 average finish. Allmendinger, 13.0. Hamlin, 13.0. Harvick, 4.3. And Michael McDowell, 15.0.
Well, Brad, you get to pick first because what's the score?
The
Oh, you didn't total it.
Yeah, I did. It's under it.
Oh, yeah.
So right now, remember, as we do it, the lower number wins. So last week, Jamie had 28 points. I had 42 points. I had Kyle
You
Larson
almost had the winner, dude.
and Denny Hamlin.
Truex
That's 4
screwed
and
you.
2. And then I had Truex, who goes out on lap 4. Killed me. So overall, I have 1,261, and Jamie has 1,133. The last 8 races, I've literally lost by 20-plus points. So the way we do it is we pick a driver out, finished 1 through 10th, 11 through 20th, and 21st through 36th. So my 1 through 10th driver, going to go with, man, I was going to go with Brad. That's who I've got marked.
Well, you haven't put it to paper yet, so.
How do you not pick Kyle Larson with a 3.0? I said that with Truex.
I mean, that's pretty
last
dang
week.
good. I mean, he doesn't even have to win; just come in third, and
All right, I'm going to go with
good points.
Brad Keselowski.
All right.
Out of 11th through 20th, I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick.
I was going to go with him, but you got him.
21st through 36th, I'm going to go with
What about Martin?
no.
I think Martin's done. Put a fork in him.
I'll go with Stenhouse.
All right.
Probably the first time he's been picked all season.
Well,
It's
one of
gotta-
us should have picked him for Daytona.
It's
but
got to
we
work
didn't.
out better than my last week's picks. I went with the best average finish the last few weeks, and it's literally done nothing good to help me. Who do you got?
All right. I'm going with Denny. Denny's got to do it. Denny isn't a have to, in my opinion.
Okay.
Second group. I'm going to tell you, Ross, for me, has been a safe pick for the last 4 races. I mean, he's not winning, but he's top 10ing.
Yeah.
So I'm going, I mean, Ross dropped a little at 13. I'm going Ross.
All right.
I like Ross. We haven't really,
Haven't met yet?
no, we haven't met, but last year we dogged him.
I just still don't like him.
You don't like him? I think he's become boring this year.
I don't dislike him, but I don't like him.
I like him.
He's kind of like Chase Elliott. No personality, really. Speaking of agriculture, I get excited.
I like watermelons. Daddy said that we grow the best watermelons in all the state of Florida.
Now,
Daddy said.
Who's your 21st through 36th pick?
It's tight, dude. There's not
Truex is down there. Ty Dillon's still in it.
I ain't doing no Truex.
Corey LaJoy.
You know what? He ain't. Corey LaJoy is one of the few people I can say outdrives his car.
And it's a track that somebody like that could win at.
I am going because I think Brad thinks his employee has a better chance than him. I'm going with Chris Buescher. That's what I'm doing.
Bouchard.
Yeah, because he's French and he likes
Y'all got the same haircut.
he likes croissants.
Croissants.
He eats a lot of croissants.
He likes your haircut too, obviously.
My lesbian haircut.
Yeah.
I didn't dye it pink this
I
year,
know.
purple.
I'm so
this week.
disappointed. You were going to dye it purple for the show.
We'd have to record. No, I ain't doing it for Bristol. Never mind. Nope.
You'll wear it too.
Ain't gonna happen. Nope.
Well, that's all I got. You got anything else this week?
I just want to thank all the men and women that sacrificed after 9/11 and pray for any of those families that lost a family member during 9/11.
I'll second that. I agree. So, if you're going to Bristol this weekend, look us up. We'll be there. Just, hit us up. DM
Tweet
us.
X us.
You can email us. You can
DM us.
Twixt us. Whatever you want to do. Get a hold of us. Let us know. We'd love to say hey and meet you. So, I know we got a bunch of people we know that we get to actually meet finally. So,
Got some
Looking-
business partners that
looking
are
forward to
there.
that. Yeah, we got a customers going with us, so we got to take care of that.
So we won't be doing any meth or even beer.
Even if we didn't have customers going, I don't think meth would be on the agenda.
No, meth seems to be a bad thing.
Meth leads to really bad decisions, as we've learned on this show. If you don't learn anything else from this show, it's that meth leads to bad decisions.
You know,
don't do meth.
A coworker.
He does meth?
No, it's a she, actually.
Okay.
We're at the Braves game.
Yeah.
And I go and get a beer. My one beer. Because that's all I'll have.
Yeah.
Well, it was not a Bud Light. I think it was a Coors Light.
Okay.
But she was shocked. She said, I thought you didn't drink. I don't think I've ever told anyone I don't drink. I really don't drink, though.
She just notices that you don't drink then.
She does.
That's all it is. She just pays attention to you.
I said, no, I get sloppy at home. I really don't, but...
I get sloshed when I'm in the house. I'm an alcoholic.
I don't want anyone to be hurt because
I only drink at home.
I don't want anyone to get hurt because I drink. So
I only drink on days that
I drank the beer at the beginning of the game. Just one. So that, there was no risk for anyone getting hurt when I left.
I don't drink.
4 hours later.
I don't have that problem.
The last time you drank, you had a Bud Light, though.
That was that one beer a year we had at the 24-hour
freezing,
race.
the 23-degree.
No, it was this year.
Oh, wasn't 20?
We've done a beer in celebration of your father every year at the 24 hours of Daytona. We do a beer.
And his car.
So that's literally
looks about like this now.
It's the only beer I drink a year is in celebration of his father at the 24 hours of Daytona. So,
who is a very hardcore into SCCA.
Yeah. So, and it wasn't even a good beer. We'll never waste our one beer a year on
But is
that.
Beer even good?
I think there's some craft beers I used to enjoy back in the day. I mean, it's been many, many moons ago since I drank, but I do remember they taste, I feel like they did. I don't know. I probably wouldn't like them now that it's been so long.
I like the Yingling, but
I hated England.
Did you?
It was like warm pea.
Yeah, but that's kind of from my drinking days. There was a time when I drank a lot, basically Fridays and Saturday nights, and that was up in the mid-Atlantic, and that was a predominant brand.
You remember when the Dell Jr. Download had that one ad for Dell's Pale Ale? Not Dell Jr., but Dell's Pale Ale was a beer that sponsored the...
I actually bought it. Wasn't that good?
It was really strong.
I think he drank it and said, no, we don't need that sponsor.
Yeah, because it didn't stay around long.
Was it owned by Budweiser?
No, I'm sure.
No?
It was a local North Carolina company. All right, that's all I got this week. Thanks to everyone who listens, watches, shares the show on social media, shares it with your friends. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. We're at Car Backwards. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and check out all our videos. And like this video you're watching right here. If you're not subscribing, subscribe over here. Check us out on Spotify. Make sure you rate us there as well. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review like Brandon did. You can send us a DM or you can email us at racecarbackwardspod@gmail.com. We will read it and we will respond to it.
And this is in honor of Pastor Jim.
Yeah, this episode goes out to Pastor Jim.
I hope I didn't offend you, Pastor Jim, but I believe in grace. And my Quaker Jesus is the same as your Jesus.
And he needs grace.
Yeah,
so,
I do.
Thank you for everything, Jim. We love you, man. Greatly appreciate it.
Enjoy Texas. It's tax-free.
And rolling blackouts.
Oh, yeah. Pray for no winter.
And check out our merch store. It's racecarbackwards.threadless.com. Get you some stickers. That's basically all we sell now. But like we said, thanks, Jim. We greatly appreciate you. Everybody who's affected by 9/11, if you lost somebody, thoughts and prayers go out to you. Other than that, this has been episode 75. Next week's episode 76. We'll see you in Bristol. Everybody have a great week. Bye.
You just listened to Race Car spelled backwards. For that, we thank you.